Well, April 15th, that's today, here in the United States, is considered tax day, the final date by which all working individuals and businesses are expected to file their income tax returns stating their annual earnings. Unless an extension is requested, penalties are applied that range from a small fee to jail time. It's a day everyone takes very seriously, including the president. President Barack Obama has released his 2012 income tax return to the public. He earned nearly $395,000, his presidential salary, plus about $260,000 in book sales, for a total of $609,000. The first couple donated more than $150,000 to charity, which lowered their total tax bill just over $112,000. That's a tax rate of more than 18%. Well, joining us now in the studio to discuss the significance of Tax Day and taxes in general is Eric Lecompte, Executive Director for Jubilee USA Network. Would like to welcome you to Africa 54, Mr. Lecompte.
Thank you.
So in the words of former U.S. President Benjamin Franklin, two things are certain: death and taxes, both very unpopular. With regards to taxes, why?
Well, certainly no one likes to pay their taxes, but I think what's really interesting right now is you see a broad cross-section of political opinion, from very conservative voices to very progressive voices, that do believe if I'm paying my taxes, the corporations and big businesses should be paying their taxes as well. And so over the past few years, a story that has gained attention around the globe has been the reality that many big businesses don't pay their taxes. They actually avoid taxes through uses of tax havens and offshore loopholes, and they're not paying like the rest of us here in the U.S.
And I know that's one of the areas your organization really focuses on, is that a lot of people are evading paying taxes because they've created, and they are, according to the Tax Justice Network, a lot of safe havens for a lot of these corporations. Why don't most of these corporations abide by these rules, and what is the penalty for not doing that?
Well, the reality of it is that unfortunately there aren't enough rules, and a lot of what these corporations are doing is completely legal. Let me give you an example in Ghana. So in Ghana, SAB Miller, one of the largest beer manufacturers in the world, is located. Right next door to SAB Miller, the second largest beer company in the world, with these major headquarters and factories in Ghana, is a woman that sells cigarettes and soda at just a convenience stand. To the government of Ghana, that woman pays more in taxes to the government in Ghana than SAB Miller. As a matter of fact, SAB Miller, according to a recent report by ActionAid, hasn't paid a dime there. But what they're doing is legal. They trademark their products in different countries. They can say they're located in different countries, so they can pay lower tax rates in other places and often get their money out of the country. So the people of Ghana are the ones that are losing there.
Now, what you're also arguing is that that money that is being evaded, at least in terms of not getting into the federal coffers, could really go towards alleviating poverty.
Oh, yes. I mean, in fact, between 2000 and 2008, $6.5 trillion has left the developing world completely untaxed. What does that mean for Africa? Well, every $10 in aid that northern governments like the US and Europe, every $10 in aid they give to Africa, $15 exits the country in what are called these illicit financial flows, these ways that these corporations are not paying taxes.
Now, very briefly, Africa has a problem with not being able to collect taxes the way the U.S. does, but there's the argument that if they could, it could really reduce their dependency on foreign aid. Well,
that's exactly right. And our organization, Jubilee USA Network, we got our start looking at debt issues in Africa. And throughout our history, we've won $130 billion in sovereign debt for countries. But the reality of it is the debt crisis would be over, and people in Africa would have control over their own revenues if they were able to tax these corporations. So there are two things that need to happen. Number one, we need to have better rules in place and better collection agencies for the different African governments. But the second piece is we need to be able to have legislation in place to stop the banks from funneling money out from these corporations outside of Africa.
So taxes are not all that bad if they're done correctly.
That's right.
Thank you so much. Eric Lecompte is the Executive Director of Jubilee USA Network, an alliance of U.S. organizations, faith communities that are aiming to build economies that serve and promote participation of the most vulnerable